Okay, here we are. So we are on our first video of our second standard. So we're going to be talking here about writing, writing and interpreting absolute value models. So I'm going to be giving you some word problems, and we're going to actually have to create the model for that word problem. It's not going to be given to us as it was in the previous standard. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So writing models for absolute value functions. So from some words, let's go ahead and give it a try. Make sure you've got that written down before you proceed. So here's just a simple statement, and we're going to interpret these words into some algebra. So write each statement using an absolute value inequality. So K is no less than 5 units from 8. K is no less than 5 units from 8. So we have to go back to our definition of absolute value, and that is that the distance from a number. We want to go with the distance from. So the distance from. Okay? So K is no less than 5. So we talk about the distance being 5. The distance is 5. That means that this is going to be equal to 5. Okay? And I want K is being separated from 8. How far is K from 8? K is from 8. So it's K minus 8. That's the absolute value piece. It's the hardest part to get is where do you put the 5 and where do you put the 8? But if I'm talking about being from 8, then it's like being the distance from 0. So I have K is how many units from 8? That's how we start with the absolute value. Now, I am going to go back here and modify that I actually don't want an equal sign because it says it's no less than. Well, and if I want to be no less than, that means that that's my minimum and I want to be actually possibly further away. So that would be no less than 5. That's greater than. That's strange that no less than means more. No less than means more. So I have K minus 8 in the absolute value is greater than or equal to 5. The distance away is greater than 5. Let's try the next one. This one says N is within. So that within part, that's the distance. That's the how far it is. So it's N of 8. Now, within blank units of 6, that's the same as saying how far it is away. So that's describing the absolute value part of n minus 6. This would be the same, remember, as 6 minus n. They would have the same value because it doesn't matter. The switching in there won't matter because it's absolute value. Now, if I want to be within a certain distance, that's like the tolerance that we were talking about in the previous standard. We're talking about within 0.001. So either of these would be acceptable. To switch the n minus 6 or the 6 minus n does not make a difference. All right, let's go ahead and see how else we can apply this. So here we have, let me switch colors because I want to try, we'll go back to red. At the Brooks Graphic Company, the average starting salary for a new graphic designer is this amount. But the actual salary could differ from the average by as much as. So this is the distance. Okay? So we start with what goes inside the inequality. So if I have, write an absolute value to model this, I'm going to say the salary minus 37,600 could vary by as much as means less than or equal to, as much as, less than or equal to. If you need to argue that out with yourself, I really do advise you do that. Talk yourself out as much as, up to this much. No more than this much. So if you start using other words that still represent the as much as, then that will help you convince what type of inequality symbol to use. And that is the 2590. So it looks like we're saying that the salary given this much money could vary up to this much. Now we're going to go ahead and solve it to find the range of starting salaries. So we will set it up as S minus 37,600 is less than or equal to 2,590, and S minus 37,600 is greater than or equal to negative 2,590. And when we add the 3760 to 600 to the other side, okay, so go ahead and take a moment to do that. You can pause the video if you need to, and then give that a try. And I came up with these two values. So it looks like the range of values is between, or salaries that is, the range of salaries is between, so starting salaries are between 35,100 or 100 and $40,190. So this would be our answer to that solution. So let's go back to the beginning just to make sure we understand where we put the values. This is super important because you're going to be trying some of these on your own. So the starting salary is this amount. So this is what we want to work with. That's kind of like the from value. But the actual salary could differ from the average by as much as this 2,590. So it's the variance that goes on the outside. Okay, it's our variance is what we're saying is less than or equal to. Okay, and that's what goes on the outside. All right, I want you to try the entrance slip that's on Schoology, and then please make any comments or questions and write them down so we can discuss them when we're together.